Are you ready?
We live.
We are live. Hey, y'all. It has been a while. Welcome. If you are new here, this is our second season of our podcast. We did have Behind the Rings,
Yeah.
and now we're back with a more raw, more real, and more kind of our story in a different way. This is exciting. I wanted to do this specifically me, because I wanted you guys out there, ladies out there, to really hear Bay express, our love and share his side of our story, because I think everybody now knows my side. But I want everybody to hear Bay's side of things, because I think when a man takes ownership for the relationship, it makes things a little bit different. So here
Okay.
we are.
I can attest to that.
Yes.
I appreciate you having me.
Of course. This is our show. You're not a guest.
Nah, I know.
You're the main course.
Ooh, I like how
My
we starting already.
my main course. Let me make that very clear.
Everybody knows we're exclusive.
Period. So the first day that we met, let's
Alright.
talk about it.
All right, so I guess yeah, it's time for everybody to be abreast to how this all started because that's always the magic question.
How you fell in love with me on the first day.
How I fell in love with you on the okay,
You
so that's the
did.
narrative we paint. Okay, good to know. We ain't discussed this before
You
core,
know,
but we here now.
you in love. It's okay.
I wouldn't call it love at first sight. I would definitely say a very strong infatuation. It
Yeah.
wasn't even lust. You know what I mean? It was I need to get to know her. She needs to somehow be a part of my life, whether that's being a friend,
Yeah.
a partner in this class. I don't know, but I need to be invested in her
Yes.
in some type of way.
The feeling was so mutual.
It was
It
not
was
mutual.
fine.
Nah. We gotta
Nah.
clear the air. You did not see me.
I did see you, but I'm not trying to be petty or like immature, but I saw your acne first.
And cut.
No, because I was raised by a mom, as you know, that was very much so into vanity. So my idea of like a partner had to do with how he carried himself, not only like spiritually, just like as his aura, but also physically. Like, what does your face look like? Like, am I gonna have to not only heal with you from your childhood, but also heal with your like
Your
face?
blemishes.
Right. Like, why do I have to deal with your hygiene? I didn't sign up for that.
Oh my god.
Like, you can't be funky, hairy, and have acne. Like, you
Well,
gotta choose.
good thing one of us saw the other spirit. Oh
You
my
know,
god.
you were looking within. You
I
were looking
was.
at the depths. I was looking on the surface. Okay,
I had to get past your bifocals that you had on, but once I was able to see your pupils correctly, I knew she was the one.
that's a well. So let me start by letting y'all know the first day that we met was so wild. First day of school, high school, ninth grade, 2006. We were at South Gwinnett, and it was towards maybe the middle end of the day. I don't even know what period that our art class was. But I actually went into the wrong art class.
Yeah.
I went into the art class for seniors who needed an extra credit, so they could graduate. So here was this art class full of seniors, and I'm a freshman. I didn't look like a freshman. That's why nobody batted their eyelashes when I was sitting in the class.
Yeah.
And after sitting in there and I had all my stuff out, my notes and everything, one of the singers was like, "What do you like? Are you sure you're in the right class? Because we haven't seen you before." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm supposed to be in art class. Like this is art class, right?" And they were like, "Right, but this is for seniors who needed another credit or a last credit before they graduate." So I was like, "Okay, well, I'm definitely a freshman, so I automatically know I'm in the wrong class." So the teacher's class that I was in at the time was a female, and I forgot her name. That's either here nor there, but anyway, she was going to take me out the front door to take me to the proper art class, which was next door. So how this whole building was set up was you could get to the art class that me and Bay met in through going out the front door, or there was a back door. Well, had all of this was divine. Our us meeting was so divine, which is why we know we've known each other in past lifetimes.
Right.
Because had she taken me through the front door and I would have went in the front of the art class, I would have never seen this man. At least not initially. And had I went to the proper class on time, I would not have seen this man. Because how everything played out, it was literally like somebody was really writing us down to the details.
Yeah.
So she brings me in the back door, and I end up going into the back door entrance of the art class. And as I come in, the first face that I see is Bay. And we both have a quick connection, but it was a very real and very serious moment. Like we locked eyes and it was like we zinged.
Yeah.
And if you're a parent and you've seen Hotel Transylvania, you know the whole zing.
Right.
So we had a zing moment. And the only seat that was left and available was right in front of him. So that's what I'm saying. Had I come to class on time, my back would have been to him if I sat in that seat or sat across the way. So everything was divine.
Yeah.
And the rest was kind of history.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even think I even told you this.
Don't get in trouble on this podcast.
Okay. Let me treat you like um because before you came in, there was another girl at that table. I'm not gonna mention names because I'm not here to advertise for nobody else. But
Oh my gosh.
there was another girl there that me and my boy that I was sitting at the table with. We both kind of had our eye on, and then when you sat down, it was kind of like all right, which one are you gonna get? Which one are you gonna get?
Oh my
Not
gosh.
even like giving credit to the two guys that were already at the table with y'all. So it was like bump them, but one of them is mine, the other one is yours.
I can't. But what's crazy is even one of the guys that sat at the table, you ended up doing music with at my
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
So it did it, and it's crazy because you did music with him, but he was like my big brother.
That's
So
wild.
we were going to cross paths regardless because we knew we kind of flowed in with the same crowd. I flowed in with every crowd just because,
Yeah, you cool like that.
I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. But yeah, that I think the first day seeing you was like it was a quick moment, but it was an understanding.
Right.
And then from there, I don't even know how we became close.
Right.
Because I don't even think we had classes together
Y'all,
like after art.
we were not intentional about like spending time with each other. It's not like we had some conversation where we were like, "You're my best friend." Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have any common ground at all. It was just like I saw you one day, and then the next,
Yeah.
we were BFFs,
Yeah.
girlfriend and boyfriends and all.
It was just like there was no, I don't even remember that gap, like that timeline. It went from seeing you the first day, freshman year continued, and then we came back to school sophomore year, and you would have thought that we spent our entire summer
Yeah,
together.
I ain't even talked to
Like
you over the summer.
at all. I don't even think you got my number until sophomore year.
That's such a trip. I don't listen.
Still to this day, we cannot figure out what happened from the first day we met until the first day that we became like damn near inseparable. To the point where people that we go to school with still say, "No, y'all were together in high school, baby." No.
Right. And if we were, obviously we were because we missed that segment of our life.
We
I think we
did.
just went on autopilot
We
and
did.
everybody was like, no, y'all were together throughout that whole time. How do y'all not remember?
Yeah, nah,
Like,
bro.
Elon, I need you to put the chip in our heads
No, for real.
and uncover the gap because
Yeah,
we missing it.
we did. And it was such a it was such an interesting time in high school because we both were always in relationships,
Yeah.
but always found ourselves together. Like the relationship ended up phasing out right around the time that we always picked up where we left off. And it was always that. It was, we would have our conversations, we would be friends, and then it's like, all right, well, I'll catch you in another, whatever. And then from like once it hit, what was that, junior year, we were just like every day. Like it was a everyday communication, and then senior year, forget about it.
Yeah.
And I really feel like they got sick of us at a point because senior year they purposely didn't put us in any classes.
Yeah. That was
Like
intentional.
y'all, we've been in the same classes for how many years? This is the year that you don't want us to be in the same class. That's not fair.
Right.
That's not fair. Y'all was blocking. Y'all was blocking.
It was so well worth it though.
It was.
I wouldn't change anything about it because I feel like yes, how we got together in high school, I still think we could have got it out the mud. We could have went through all of the woes, but I don't know, it just makes the story so much sweeter to know
Right.
that we were still as close as we were, as if we were boyfriend, girlfriend, but we weren't at the same time. So it's like it was just this mystery that we held throughout all 4 years of high school. Like, I wonder what it would be like to be with her. And then, after graduation, it was like we were inseparable at that point. It was like, all right, it's time to write the story.
Right. And even while we were in high school, I think the craziest thing, at least for me, was that every person that I dated, it did not matter if they went to the school or if they weren't at the school, but the moment that they realize like, oh, Dorian is your friend. Like Dorian is a guy. Oh no, y'all are not friends. Like I have to break up with you because they understood what we had and I didn't even understand what we had.
Right.
I didn't even understand like the intensity because everyone's like, I'm not gonna stand in the way of what you guys have going on. And I'm like, I'm not in a relation. I'm in a relationship with you. I'm with like we have publicly declared. We put the Facebook status. You're on my MySpace as like claimed all of these things, and you sitting here talking about some. I don't want to stand in the way.
Right.
What the hell?
Everybody knew about the soul tie before we even knew about it. It
Bruh.
was obvious.
It's just wild to think that there were other people that knew our story. Like, so we have to stop and give credit to Stephanie Velez, now Stephanie Brown. She is the underlying piece of our story because she was rooting for us before we even knew that there wasn't us. Like, that's just shout out to Stephanie.
Shout out.
Like, girl, she saw a vision and we were like, okay, like we know we're gonna be together. It's just not today. And it just puts so much into perspective as far as, this is something that is real for us. This is something that we never discussed. Our relationship was never a thing that we walked through. Like we never really established the grounds. And I think that was the catalyst for our relationship all of these years, our friendship, our marriage, because we don't really have to discuss too much. And what's crazy is we talk all the time. Like so y'all about to be letting our business. But our thing as a married couple is we spend a lot of time together, including in the shower. And most people like,
oh, you just okay.
I'm sorry. I had to let them know. Like, most people like, ooh, y'all shower together. Like, ooh, that's kinky. But see, y'all are very, no offense, immature in your relationship because you think that intimacy has to be created in every single moment that your clothes are off. And for us, being in the shower together is the most vulnerable moment that you will have with your partner.
Right.
And just with the person
Full
in general.
exposure.
Correct. Because what are you hiding behind a little washcloth?
Right.
Like, I
I
see
see
you.
you.
Like I see you. And we sit in the shower and we talk. We just like we're talking to y'all now, we just talk. And I think that communication between us is so good. But just as much as we communicate out loud, we communicate non-verbally. Like we're that attached, which is why we comprehend and understand that we knew each other in past lives.
Yeah.
Because our connection is so serious. It is so unique. It is not forced. It just feels like we're in flow.
Yeah, you can't recreate the chemistry,
You can't.
the fluency, if that's a word. It's like either you got it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's like that star factor almost. And once we recognized that we had that, it was something that we both knew that we weren't willing to jeopardize.
Yeah.
Like it's like, look, you don't have to be my wife. It would be great if you could be, but I know for sure that you're going to be in my life because I'm not going to find this with anybody else. So for that simple fact, we have to remain at least friends.
Yeah.
At least because
connected.
Man, what I'm not giving this up. This is the real gold. This is the real currency to me. This is like you cannot mistake this love. Like when you see us, it's like like yes, they're made for each other. And it's not to brag or boast anything. It's just like it's just a fact. It's an immutable fact, and it's something that we cherish. And now we see that it's a lack. It's a lack of it in this world.
Yes.
And it's like, hey, something that comes so innate to us. Why don't we share it? And give tips. Yes, it's gonna be hard work for us because when you join forces in terms of a marriage, then there's some things that you have to sacrifice about yourself.
Yeah.
If we were just friends, there were things that I could do. There were things that she would be able to do. But being in a marriage now, we have to bond as one.
Yeah.
So now us being able to have a platform where we can share to other people and it kind of expose, how we navigate our marriage with this chemistry as well is healing. It's healing to us. It's healing to our children. It's healing to our audience. And it would be immature of us not to, share this. It's not to throw in people's faces. It's to be vessels and examples that this is possible. Anybody can find this. You don't have to have that chemistry that we're talking about all the way from high school. You can meet somebody today and create this, but it does take work. It takes intentionality and it takes sacrifice on your part. You got to kill that ego, because for where you guys are going, oh my God, trust me, 2 is better than 1.
Yeah.
Fellas, 2 is better than 1.
I mean, even just allowing your ego room in your marriage, it's the wedge. It's the wedge that's going to keep the communication really scarce between you guys. And it's not to say that there is not room for you to operate out of, just everyday human. But what you have to understand is the way that we are chemically made as human, we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right.
And when you understand that and take this is demonic, it's not any of those things. But when you really embrace and understand the fact that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, you stop giving power to your human. And what I mean by that is right? It's easy for your human to start making emotional decisions for you. We cannot make emotional decisions. And just because you're a woman or a man does not mean that you operate more out of your emotions as a woman versus a man. The thing about it is women don't give men an opportunity to even express their emotions, because we just know that that's our innate thing. That's just how women are. We're more emotional. We're more in touch with our intuition. And that's not necessarily the case, at least for our relationship. Bae is very intuitive. And when I stepped down over the course of time after healing and allowed him to really flow in his intuitiveness, I realized that men do possess that. It's women that stand in the way, because it's like, no, this is our strength.
Yeah.
You stay in your strength, I stay in mine. But when you release the role of what humanness does, and you start operating in your spirituality, you start operating in your spiritual being, meaning you're not taking things personal when your partner says something to you, but you're getting to the root of it. And that takes time. That takes time to know that they're not talking to me to hurt me. They're talking to me to build me. And when you learn how to speak to each other, when you learn how to deliver facts over emotional opinions, it changes the trajectory, it changes the temperature, all of your relationship and your marriage. Because now you're not sitting there like, oh, I can't say this to her. I can't say this to him, or I don't know how they're going to take it. So you start weaseling lies into your relationship, and you start weaving in, saying something without saying it, because you want to test the waters with your partner. This is not a trial run.
Right.
Your relationship is forever. And we talk to each other sometimes like it's a trial run, when you just have to learn your partner and let them flow. And when you understand those non-verbal things about your partner, like when you have that unspoken chemistry, it literally makes the marriage and everything else so much easier, because now you've done the work. Now you understand who you're dealing with. They understand who they're dealing with. You understand who you're dealing with. And now it becomes easier to master marriage, to master a relationship without the pressures of society, without the pressures of your human, without emotions. And I'm not saying don't use them, because they do come in handy sometimes, but don't lead your relationship with your emotions. Don't lead your relationship with, this is how I feel. What are the facts? What are the facts? You said something that could be perceived as disrespectful if you weren't talking to me. So it's not about me. And this is slightly off topic, but this is something that I've always said to women, even before I went on my healing journey and became the wife that I am today now. I would tell women, and they would look at me crazy, because they're like, nobody does that, Brittany. And I'm like, listen, that's just me. But I never wanted to create this amazing man, you being that amazing man. I never wanted to create this amazing man for me, because I understood that everything has an expiration date. And just in case our relationship was one of those things that had an expiration date before it was, what I felt like was our time to have an expiration date, AKA death. I'm just saying, sometimes it ends a little bit early, but I was never trying to help you become and heal for me. You weren't just my man. Eventually you were going to be a father to another little girl. You were going to be a father to a boy, or you were going to be, possibly somebody else's man. And I did not want somebody else to pick up the baggage of what would be you. And they're like, well, what did you do in your previous relationship?
Right.
Were you growing? Like, what would you do? I'm picking up the pieces, and they didn't even give me no blueprint, no guideline, no syllabus, no nothing on you. So I'm starting over, and it's like, that's not, because I care about people, That's not fair to pick up somebody else's baggage from a previous relationship that they established when they were immature, when they were children. Now they're grown.
Yeah.
And now you want me as a grown woman to take on somebody else's stuff? No. So when I did my part in helping Bay become the man that he is today, it wasn't for me. It's because I see what's good in you. I see the goodness in you. I stopped looking at how you can benefit me, and I started looking at how you can benefit just the world.
Yeah.
How your voice can be good in the world. And when you again start looking at the spiritual being in your partner, then you stop being selfish in your desires to help them grow. It just becomes I see the light in you and I want to reflect that in me. Let's grow together. And if that means that if that means that we have to separate a little bit, or this doesn't end up being a lifelong thing, I'm okay with that, because I know that I added value into another human that's then going to transfer that value to the world. So I did a service.
Right.
And that's just it.
I never took it as you trying to change me for you.
Mm-hmm.
You just wanting to have my best interest. You wanting to see the best out of me. You wanted me to, live at my highest potential. That automatically made me attracted to you. Because I'm like, that's somebody that supports me. That's somebody that really believes in me. Why wouldn't I want to have this person in my corner?
That's the friendship.
Right, and that's where that comes in. Y'all gotta be friends. Listen, before you get wrapped up in that lust and stuff, because yes, I know he look good, girl. I know she's bad, bro.
Yeah.
I get all of those things. But at the end of the day, when you remove that, who is that person?
Yeah.
And it's like, let's bring that out. Let that person shine at their highest level.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna trump all of the lust and all of that. Like, that's a plus. Of course, she put that makeup on. It's like, yeah, what's up?
Period.
But outside of that, how does she speak to you?
Yeah.
Like if she's sitting here dogging you out, but she look good, what's the point?
Yeah. And that part is important too. Like how you speak to your partner, you don't understand what seeds you're planting when you speak to them, because it may not be something that you thought was a big deal.
Right.
But then you realize like, oh, his behavior shifted or her behavior shifted. Well, why did that shift happen? Well, you weren't edifying the spiritual being within your partner. Right. You were tearing down their flesh, their human, and their spiritual. And now you wondering why he's giving you one-word answers.
Right.
You wondering why she's shutting down, or she's finding interest in other men, giving her approval or attention. It's like, well, you said something that stuck to me.
Yeah.
The words hurt.
Yes.
They take root, and we had to learn that, unfortunately, the hard way in our marriage. But when we started edifying that friendship and really started to peel back the layers of everything, like we started to take those non-tangible, that verbal communication and understanding that we had, and we started to put words to it.
Yeah.
We started to put intention behind it. It changed the trajectory of our relationship and our marriage.
Yeah. And that's good.
And you fine at the same time.
I do my best. I try. You do too, man. Oh my God. Listen, I got me a natural 90s beauty.
Oh my God.
All of that weave, all of that stuff. Like, she don't need to do. Fellas, that's what you need to do. First date, take her to the pool. Y'all just go. If it's cold outside, grab a hotel, bro. Hop in the indoor pool. I do what you gotta do. But make sure that she gets completely submerged.
Yeah.
Because you need to see what you're working with.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because there is going to be a time where you see her wake up in the morning and she at her bare basics.
Yeah.
And you still have to love her just as much as the night before when she was dead all the way up in that red dress, bro.
Yeah. And it sounds funny, but it's real, because men are physical beings. And they can be turned off so quickly by something that a woman does.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there like, why don't you love me anymore? Because, no offense, when I got with you, you were together. You kept yourself up. You did all of the bait. And I took the bait. And now you're like, well, I got him. Now I can, take the wig off. Like, this is not I'm going to get you, sucker. This is not a movie. This is real life. Like, stop taking off your stuff. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be print proper in makeup every minute. But the same way that women love to do that drop card, well, the way that you got me is the way that you keep me, baby. Girl. The same way you got him is the same way you got to keep him. It's about compromise. It's about working together. It's about teamwork. It's about knowing that when my man goes to work every day, and my man doesn't, we're work from home people, but for the example purposes, when your man goes to work every day or your woman goes to work every day, and if you get home before them, please don't have them coming in and you looking a mess. they have been around other possibilities of realities in other women or other men. They can see themselves or let their brain go off on a tangent on what life would be like with that dime piece over there or that muscular man over there. Let them come home and see that, I wasn't necessarily waiting on you to come home, but you came home to something, and you don't have to lust. You don't have to think about what you just saw. You can literally come home and see everything that you want in me. I'm a reflection of what you caught and what you picked up in the beginning of our relationship, in the beginning of our marriage, and that didn't die because we've gotten comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
It should actually be the reverse. Like, the longer that you stay together, I feel like you should find ways to refine your marriage, because when you do something for a long time, it stops losing its luster. It stops losing that, ooh, we're together. It's like,
yeah, that honeymoon fall off.
It does. So then what else? That's when you figure out, like, what substance do we have in our relationship?
Yeah.
Because if it was all platonic, you'll know within the first year after the honeymoon.
Yep.
You will.
Yep.
And you have to build something else after that. Like, even if you're at home and you got your moo-moo on, if he comes in and he's loving on you and all of these things, it's like he sees something deeper than just the physical. But then you have to keep that up. Everything in life is about work. It doesn't stop after I do. It continues. Year 1, year 13, year 23.
Yep.
It continues. And you have to continue to elevate. You have to continue to grow. You have to continue to heal. It doesn't just stop after I do. Like, It's a process.
It is a process.
It's a process.
And it's going to be uncomfortable. Y'all got to realize, though, anything new is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But you learn how to drive, and now you do it unconsciously.
Yeah.
You can drive a whole hour in traffic, listen to music, be on the phone, and you get home and you like, I don't even remember leaving work.
Right.
So it can be the same thing in your marriage.
Yeah.
Most men, we dread talking until we start doing it more with our wives.
Yeah.
And we realize, this person actually is kind of cool. Let me ask her these questions. Play a question game. Like me and my wife, we play Uno at night. We do a nightcap with our kids and we play Uno, but when they go to bed, we play Uno again.
Yeah.
And before we can even finish the game, we talking.
Yeah.
We don't even finish the game.
Never.
Mid-game, we didn't talk the whole hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like that's the only resolve, but you got to switch it up. Y'all got to do different things. It doesn't always have to be, I got to spend money to go do this. Man, you can go pull out some pillows and a blanket and lay it on the floor and y'all watch something at home, create a picnic at home. It's little things. Like, man, we're very simple and we do like quality time, but it takes the right person to be safe with. And if you're not creating a safe space for us, it's like, why would I even want to go try to pursue doing new things with this person that I know is gonna look at this like, you could have took me here, you could have this, you wanted to do, like, come on.
It's about the environment, and you have to understand that your environment is not about everything around you. The environment is about what you create with each other. And I think that people put so much emphasis on the things, like, I gotta take her to the nicest restaurant. Honey boo boo, if you just do a whole fort in the middle of the living room, that will be enough.
Right. Who doesn't like forts?
Correct. And I think that people I've said this on so many videos. People overcomplicate relationships because everybody just wants to top that last experience. Here's the thing. We all have inner children. And when you appeal and create a safe space for our inner child, then you no longer are dealing with the adult version of your partner. You're just trying to impress and blow the mind of their inner child.
Yeah.
And when you get to a spiritual level where you are tapping into that partner's inner child, it gets fun.
Yeah.
Because that's when you start having fun in your relationship. Because you're now like, what do you want to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Now it's a flow.
Right. Now you're in flow, because when you're a child and you're in a childlike level, you don't really have too many expectations. Anything with that person, like your BFF from the sandbox, becomes fun.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put too much effort. It's like, man, we can go to the sandbox and literally build castles all day. And I'm just in flow. This is zen. Like, we're cool. You're cool. I'm cool. You're having a good time. I'm having a good time. And you don't have to necessarily impress me. Now, when you do all those big things, you get the flowers and you take me out, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love that just as equally as I would love just playing Uno with you. But I think people put too much emphasis on the external, and that's why when their environment externally starts to deteriorate, so does their marriage. It's like life is created to have highs and lows, high highs and low lows, trading. It's created to have high highs and low lows, but if you keep your internal environment, meaning your marriage intact, your relationship intact, your fluidity within your communication intact, then you're not really moved by the external.
Yeah.
Like you just the external's like, oh, okay, that's nice. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
It's
and move
just a
on.
situation that happened to
Right.
you, but we have a mantra, y'all, and we say, you know, the world is happening for us
Right.
and not to us.
Right.
So we kind of start our day with this expectation of like everything today is working towards our benefit.
Right.
And as long as we're together, as long as I have you in my environment, like I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
yes, life is going life. There's no way out of it.
Yeah.
That's what makes us human, because every day we have to face something in order to overcome.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking at these things as something that is oh, this needs to be overcome by me controlling my emotions. If you're not looking at it like that, then what's going to happen is everything is going to start affect your inner environment.
Yeah.
Don't let that affect your inner environment. Like, be secure in who you are. Things
Yeah.
are going to happen, and you're already equipped with what you need to do to get over that hurdle. Yes, you got in an accident today, but you're alive. You can still call your wife, and y'all still having dinner tonight.
Right.
And she may, you
Be
know, try to
dessert.
take you. Right. She may take your mind off of it. Change your whole perspective about it. Life
Right.
happened. You got your insurance, things to handle. Like,
Yeah.
life is going to life.
Life is go life.
But your environment and where your home is with the people that you love the most and that you put your intention into.
Yeah.
And that for us is where we're good.
Yeah.
And people look at our situations and they're like, oh, but you're going through this, you're going through that, you're experiencing that. Y'all gotta understand, like, the work that we're putting in is working on us.
Yes.
And when you see the fruits of what we've been intentional about, you'll realize, oh, it was all a setup. We just couldn't see it because we're not them. Just enjoy the ride, because we are.
I mean, again, our high school like introduction kind of set the platform for our relationship now, and all these gems that we dropped in this episode were the fruits of everything that we planted. They were the fruits of the seeds that we planted in high school that we didn't even know.
Right.
You know, we like we told y'all, senior year, we were not in the same classes, so we had to create a connection. We literally had to find ways to see each other. And shout out to Mr. Geschke, literally for being that host for us. Like, he was the reason why we were able to connect senior year, because we went and connected in his class.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, or wherever it was, like at the end of the period, our teachers knew Brittany or Dorian is going to be in one of our classes, period. Like, we had our moments of being intentional about making sure we saw each other at least one time during the day.
Yeah.
You know, he would walk me to my bus, and we're not going to talk about that story. We're not gonna talk about that story, but you know, he would walk me to my bus, and my bus was all the way in the back and his was all the way in the front, and he would make sure, you know, that I got to my bus okay, and then he would run like sprint to his bus because the buses were about to pull off. But we were intentional, and that was not senior year because we were driving senior year.
Yeah.
But we were intentional about making that connection. And I think that if you all just are intentional about making that connection with your partner, then it would take the mystery out of marriage. It would take that scariness out of, well, I don't want them to be vulnerable. Yeah. Don't be afraid of being vulnerable with your partner. You're going to have to strip back the layers. But how the quality of your relationship is determined by the foundation that you set. And we had a beautiful foundation because we had time. And we get it. Not everybody has time. Not everybody has the ability to lay the foundation in their youth. But with the time that you do have, be intentional. Yeah. I think that's my only note for y'all to take away, is just to be intentional about what you bring to the table, what you accept, the boundaries that you set up for yourself, but also the grace that you give your partner through those boundaries, because sometimes the boundaries that we create specifically as women are to protect our heart because we've been heartbroken before. But if you trust your partner, then you have to release that. You can't keep holding him, you know, hostage for what he did when he was unhealed, unaware, you know, in his youth. Like, you have to give him room to grow and understand that he's going to have to extend the same thing to you. Yeah. So I'm not saying don't hold each other accountable, but give each other more grace, you know, not to keep cheating, not to keep lying and all those things. Hold them accountable in their errors, but give them grace to flow between healing, being aware and unaware, because we're all still trying to figure out life. Okay. Yeah. Nobody is perfect. Give people room to just fluctuate between their growth until you guys can get on the same page. Yeah. And then from there, hold each other accountable. Like, hey, I see you slipping.
Right.
Reel it back in. You doing too much? Reel it back in. And that's how you guys create your flow from your foundation.
Right. I do have a takeaway as well, and this is more directed um, for the women.
Okay.
So as a black man, we grow up with these false narratives of how we're supposed to live our life, and with those false narratives, we also form behaviors, we form characteristics, and a lot of times the men that you have, they're operating out of these false beliefs.
Right.
So you got to give them grace.
Yeah.
Like my wife said, hold them accountable because that's very important in these times.
Yeah.
But we need a safe space.
Yeah.
And if we don't have that in our women, then it's kind of a lost cause because now we're looking for safe spaces in sex. We're looking for it in drugs. We're looking for it in the streets.
Yeah.
And we think that we're getting that itch cured. And it's really not. All it's doing is just furthering that false belief. So, for my sisters that are going through it with their men, you got to understand that a lot of his operations is out of a place where he had just learned. It's learned behavior. That's not really him. He don't act like that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a lot of grown boys out here.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to be his mother. Be his supporter. Be his safe space. And allow him to have that safe space by not reacting. Be quick to respond and slow to react.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, as much as it's cringe because we're kind of slow to process things, is coming from these false beliefs.
Yeah.
Because we process out of like, nah, she's blowing up at me. I'm about to shut down.
Yeah.
And if you can just sit there and listen, just stare at him and listen after he said something that he was like, I don't know how she gonna react, but she kind of need to hear this. Don't react. Respond like, okay, I hear you. I'll work on that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Game changer. And then you'll see he'll start to open up. He'll just start to blossom and just be chatty. I did it.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody that absorbed all of the false beliefs growing up. I come from a background of alpha men.
Yeah. Very
frats,
alpha.
NFL players. Like it's in my DNA.
Lots of ego.
Brittany, my wife, she can attest to the fact that, she was a reactor and now she's a responder. And now with me having a safe space, we have a podcast now. Are you serious? Like I never used to ramble like this, but because you created that space for me to, just flow, I'm able to now share this with the world, share this with my brothers, because it's like, this is a feeling like nothing else can give me.
Yeah. You can't make this up.
You can't make this up.
We both had to heal, and to be able to sit here and be smiling and happy about sharing our story, because there were seasons.
Right. I even want to hold your hand in Walmart.
Period. Like, to be able to sit here and just to share, our story without the feelings attached to it, like the spice attached to it. Like we took out all of the fluff and we got to the bare bone minimum of who we are, what our relationship means to us, what our legacy means to us. And now we're able to share those gems with people who want to experience love, whether it's self-love, whether it's love with their partner, another person, hell, their kids, their dogs, whatever, just to experience the highest form of expression in the world, the highest frequency, that any human being, even an animal can feel, is love. And for us to be able to have found the flow of love, hope FBI ain't listening, but we found the secret. We found the secret to love. And you can't make this up. Like from where we came from to now, I know that our past selves are just like golf clap,
standing ovation.
Yes, because we did that.
We did it, baby.
I love you.
I love you, girl. Hey, listen, you gotta be careful how you call me baby. I know everybody is just like,
man, listen, let's turn these things off real quick. I love you for real.
No, I love you like that. Listen, I think I love you more.
You probably do.
I know I do. Our love, when a man says that he loves you,
man, what?
Just like that video, I gotta give credit to my boy. I gotta find him, but he said I think men love more authentically than women.
Yes.
Because when we say we love you, it comes from a place that is like, man, oh my God. Like,
right. Damn. And when you feel it, ladies, that's why I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't want to understand or, embrace this whole submissive thing, don't. But when you do, and when you get it outside the fleshly meaning of submissive and, oh, I gotta serve my man, when you stop taking the literalness out of it, and when you understand what that means to be that safe space for your husband, he automatically will offer you a safe space. And then y'all are both be flowing. But when you allow that, I just have to be strong and I have to be the one that, when you just learn how to be soft for yourself,
Yeah.
and then that also benefits your man, child.
Yeah. I will say
It
you
gets
found your
beautiful
femininity in a way that
because
I never expected.
you did that for me. You allowed me to heal. You were patient with me. You were kind. You were loving. You were edifying. You were all of those things in seasons where I was a capital B to you. You were like, no, I'm going to look past it. I'm going to strangle her, but I'm going to look past it. But you were so good to me. And I think that is where true, authentic, deep love comes from, because this man knew what he wanted. And he was like, I don't care about, she's acting out. I just got to get her to a place where I can create a safe space for her
Yeah.
environmentally. And then I can start pouring into her. But before he got there to pouring in, he had to heal himself. And that is why men love more authentically than women, because when they see something in you and they're like, nah, she's the one, but I just got to show her that she's the one,
Yeah.
they will do anything. And this man did everything
Yeah.
to literally allow me to just be the person that y'all see now.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't always this person. This is I'm 3 years old into healing, okay?
Look, the
Just
grass
three.
is green where you water it. Stop
Ooh,
looking at. That's been a quote that circulates.
I don't care, but when you say it, it sounds sexy.
You can go water any woman grass. Like, it's
Mhm.
always gonna turn green, but it's where you put your intention. Like, I
Correct.
saw that she had weeds in her internal ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it was obvious because it showed in her reactions. It showed in her physical appearance.
Yeah.
It was like, this ain't you.
Yeah.
Because based off your conversation, based off of where you come from, your mother, I can tell that you come from good roots.
Yeah.
You just allowed the wrong weeds to take root.
Mm,
So
that's
I'm like, man, listen, this ain't nothing but just a little plucking. This is a little intentional conversation.
man, you was plucking one weed at a time. Like you were just okay. You ready to release this one? All right, release it.
Right.
You not okay? I'll put it back. I'll take your time. And I think that's why I love you as deep as I do, because you were very patient. You didn't force my healing journey. Like it was very selfless.
Right.
What you did for me was very selfless, and I appreciate that.
Look,
Oh,
because I
you're
was
such a good
intentional about
man.
my healing time, I realized that things you just had to live with it. Like, that's kind of a thing that circulates in our
Yes.
household. It's, you gotta live with it.
Yeah.
And you gonna kick and scream when you trying to go through your day and regulate your emotions. Like, I'm not gonna react. I'm not gonna react. This coworker is pissing me off just like they were yesterday, but I'm not gonna react. I'm actually gonna smile at them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exhausting. By the time you go 9 o'clock, you out.
Yeah.
You're out because it's like, oh my God, all day I've been controlling. And then tomorrow's gonna come and you're gonna be like, it's actually a little bit easier today.
Yeah.
You just had to live with it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was with me when I realized that I had to do that for myself. That's why I was patient with you, because I'm like, if I just tell her, it's kind of like trying to tell somebody what it's like to have a child. You can tell them everything until they live with that child. And it's like, oh, you should have told me this. There was nothing that I could have told you that was going to prepare you for what you were about to experience.
Correct.
And that's what it was with you. I realized, it was just going to take time. And I was willing, because I'm like, nobody can recreate this chemistry. So I'd rather just water where it is now.
We have something special. And I'm glad that we can finally voice that to others to help.
Yeah.
Like, that's our ministry. That's our legacy. That's, a piece of us left that gets to circulate, here. And I think that our story, although it had its ghetto moments, although it had its valleys, there were a lot of peaks, there were a lot of high highs, but there were also moments where, we could have thrown in a towel and we didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful in those moments that you didn't throw in a towel and I didn't throw in a towel, because now we're able to be everything that we are for our kids. So that generational curse ended with us.
Yeah.
Because we are doing the work in live for our kids. And not only that, but they come and they let us know, like, we see you.
Yeah.
We know that y'all are doing it, because we can go look at our friends' parents and look at y'all. And they're like, you're different.
Yeah.
Like, y'all are different. Like, y'all are cool. And our son is 9, and he just sometimes will look over and he's just smiling at us. Like, he is beaming looking at us. And I'm like, what are you looking at? And he's like, this is how you guys are in high school. Like, you guys are just so cute. And I'm like, boy,
Man,
you don't get out of here.
it's been like that around everybody that we go to. And
Yeah.
again, guys, we're not trying to sit here and throw it in your face. It's just been us. When you
Yeah.
see Brittany, you see Dorian. When you see Dorian, you see Brittany. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
And it's like we can't fake it. Sometimes people come around us and they try to test the waters. Like y'all not really like that.
Yeah, we are.
Like I'm tired of
Every
having to
day.
prove it. That's why I was like, let's do this podcast and really show people.
Yes.
Because if we don't leave it on wax, bro, people just gonna keep assuming the worst.
Yeah. Nah, we are who we are. We are not the social media couple that just smiles for the cameras and collects a check. Nah, we live it. And there are people that have met us that follow us on social media. They're like, it's wild that y'all are the same people online that you are in person. I'm like, I know it's an odd phenomenon, but we're here.
Hey,
we what you see is what you
what
get.
you see is what you
Like, we can't make this up.
You can't.
And that's why the podcast is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, we thank y'all for tuning in, for listening, and we are excited to continue to pour into you, continue to give you, the gems that you need to create your own story.
Yeah.
And we hope that, you have heard enough to like, subscribe, and do all that, but also to be inspired to make small changes today.
Yeah.
What we've accomplished were a lot of small changes and some big changes, but don't get blinded or duped by the small changes. Those things do matter. And I know society tells you that little changes don't mean anything. Just walking outside is not going to help you lose weight. It will over time. Y'all have to be comfortable with the overtime part. And when you're comfortable and you're okay with the overtime part, the journey doesn't seem so heinous. It doesn't seem so bad. You start to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I can say that although, again, our story has not been perfect, it has been the most enjoyable ride. And I can't say that I would have chosen anybody else to do this life journey with other than you.
Same, babe.
You my bestie.
Man, you my boo. All right, look.
We can keep going, but yeah. Thank y'all.
Y'all moving forward. In these next few episodes, I'm a teacher. I like to teach. I like to give nuggets.
Yeah.
You can ask my wife. Like I keep journals on me.
Yeah.
And if this is something that you are looking to, take and apply in your own relationship, I encourage you guys. Get you a journal.
Yes.
When you listen to this podcast, or create a new note in your phone.
Yeah.
And just write down these things. I always say note takers are money makers.
Yes.
But you being a note taker of this show, you'll be a love maker.
Yeah. That was cute. I like that.
Right. I'm trying to spin it off the top.
I love that.
Because look, man, when you get these gems and you actually let it take root and marinate on it, and you write it down, it actually does something to you neurologically. There
we
you go. Hey, see, hey, this is my partner for real. But yeah, write these things down. Like what we're saying actually is working for us. We apply these things in our life every day.
Yeah.
And if you follow us, you see the evidence of our work.
Yeah.
So if it's working for us, it could possibly work for you.
Right.
We know for sure that it will. But
just plug in your details and it'll work.
Yeah. Well, I ain't gotta say much. She can run this podcast by herself.
No. I love you.
I love you, babe.
And we love y'all.
Yep.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. Until next time.
We'll see y'all on the next one.
Bye.
Peace.